World Series, man, a couple weeks ago. You've had some time to digest it, and dude, I'm a lifer Dodger. Hey, I'm a lifer Dodger.
Oh my God.
Life's changed. Like, what's the last couple of weeks been like for you? I know it's probably been a whirlwind.
It's been a whirlwind. It doesn't feel like it's. I was at dinner on Saturday night, and somebody there was like, "Didn't you guys win like 3 weeks ago?" And I had to like, I had to sit there and I like pulled up the calendar. I was like, "How long has it been?" It feels like it was like just yesterday. And then he said it, and I was like, maybe it has been like a really long time that I've been celebrating this thing. And part of that was in my head, I knew like, okay, we had started to get back into, okay, we got to get ready for next year mode. And like have been enjoying myself, just like celebrating it, talking to the guys, talking with everybody about it, and like trying to take in all those emotions. And then, but yeah, it's been crazy. I think 3 weeks since we won it, and just enjoying every little part of it. Like, it's been. When
you got traded to the Dodgers, obviously hometown and all that, I'm sure you had some excitement too, but what is that like? Just like you get a call, you're like, I got to go to LA the next day. Like, so that process.
Yeah. So the trade deadline was, I think, on a Monday or something. We had a weird day game.
Mm-hmm.
And so I lived like 30 minutes from the stadium in Detroit, and our game got done at 4. I think the deadline was at 6. And I was like, I'm not going home. Like, I was waiting during the game. I was like,
you knew that you were
potentially.
I knew I potentially was going to get traded.
Know.
I loved being in Detroit. I loved it there. I knew that team was really good, and we had lost some close games. And you saw what they did in the playoffs.
Right.
Like, it was fun to watch. And but I was like, you know what? I'm just going to sit here. I just sat in the locker room, didn't pack anything, because like, I don't want to go home and then come back and pack. And a couple guys stuck around, a couple of the trainers stuck around, Scooble stuck around with me. We played cards for about an hour. And at that point, they were like, all right, like I gotta go home, see my wife. Like, she's like,
where are you? What are you doing?
And so I just sat there, waited, and it got down to like 10 minutes before.
Damn.
Like 30 minutes before AJ, a manager, he comes in, and I look at him and I go, you got anything for me? He just goes, no. And I knew he was full of it. Like,
okay.
I knew he was full of it. He had a very good poker face, but I knew he wasn't just coming in there to just sit with me for the next. And then my agent texted me that I was going to the Dodgers right before the GM walks in the room. And so my only thoughts then were, how quick can I fire off this text to my mom to let her know before it like breaks, so she's not seeing it like on TV or Twitter. That was my only thought, was I got to get this text off to her. And I'm like, mid-conversation with the GM, be like, I gotta like, I know where, he's like, you know where we're going? And I was like, yeah, LA, but I gotta send this to my mom real quick.
I mean, she had to have been just over the moon, right?
I think that's when it hit that I was going to LA. And like, it's something we had talked about, obviously. Like, will it ever happen? Will I ever get the chance to come home? And never something we really ever thought was going to happen.
I did Entourage for years in LA, and then I got the chance to move back home from New York, power shoots in New York, and I was very excited. But then when I got back home, it's like, oh, I'm definitely very accessible now to like the kids I grew up with. And hey, can I come by set? Next thing you know, I have 14 meatheads by set. And
everyone's coming to see you.
So I early on was like, look, this is great, because I would go see my mom for dinner every night. And I always wished that when I would bring my mom to set. But there were times, and also it's very easy to get distracted in New York, just like it is LA.
There's a lot going on.
A couple times I said, I got to do a little extra effort to make sure the main focus is I'm back here to work. So at any point for you, you grew up here, you got a lot of friends. I'm not saying negative distractions, but you know, it's how many playoff tickets did you have to come through?
That's what everybody asks about is tickets and playoff tickets. And I think what we did, my mom honestly did a really good job of this my rookie year, of pretty much letting people know, like, don't bother him for tickets.
Right.
I'm going to leave tickets for my close immediate family, and if you want to come, you can buy your own. And I just kind of kept that all throughout my time in St. Louis, whenever I'd come to LA. And then even coming over, now it was a little bit different. It'd be like, okay, on days I pitch, my close core group, they knew they had a ticket. And we had our own thing. I was like, hey, let me know if you guys want a ticket. I'm pitching on this day. And I would make sure that they had their tickets left. And anybody else who asked me for days I was pitching, wouldn't really matter. Now, if they asked on a random day, hey, you have any extra tickets? Like, yeah, I'd leave them. And then playoffs, it was like my mom and my brother were taking care of that. My agents took care of them on days I pitched. And then it was my close core group my mentor and his family, like, because I've loved them I've known them since I was like 8 years old. And so it could have been crazier, but I'm appreciative of my friends who allowed me to say no.
Yeah. I understand when you like clinch a division in baseball, you pop some champagne for sure. I get it.
He is
long
so irritated
season.
by
It's
this
a
shit.
lot. Baseball's a long season. Or even if, hey, we got a wild card, champagne, pop a Coors Light, whatever. I get it. Bringing it all back. But then first round wild card teams, you get, all right, boom. Now we're in the divisional round, pop champagne. Now we're in the ALCS, pop. Too much? I'm not saying don't celebrate with your team.
Look,
but like to bring the camera crew in, put the goggles on, do all that. I'm not saying don't do it. It's a public event.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we get to the World Series, like, you know, when we pop champagne, it's like, all right, we've seen it 5 times already. Just asking, is it too much?
Okay, I've had this conversation before.
Okay. So it's not
no, but it came from a basketball player.
all right.
So I'll say this though. Having gone through it and won the World Series, it does not get old at all. It does not
For
get
sure.
old. Every
For
single
sure.
one. And then the World Series one was just like, that was
the ultimate.
It just was a build up.
God, that's so.
It was, the World Series one was just a build up.
No one's saying job's not finished.
Crazy.
No one's saying job's not finished.
So one of my family friends, Robert Ory, he brought this up to me.
Wait, Robert Ory?
Robert Ory.
Oh my God, you just
Big Shot.
suddenly dropped that. You talking about Big Shot Bob?
Yes.
That's
And
amazing.
One of my buddies.
7 rings, right?
Yeah, he's got 7 of them. He brought it up to me. He's like,
Interesting.
he was like,
Me and
why
Big
do you guys pop champagne after it? Why do you guys do this after every round? Like
Great question,
goggles
Bob.
and everything and do this. And I didn't have an answer for him. I go, I don't know, man. It's just the culture. He's like, it's too much. Like it really is. And I was like, and I actually like kind of listened, and I was like, in my head, like when it was the 1 game wild card, right? So it was a 1 game wild card. So you would have a team like pop champagne to get into that 1 game wild card, and then pop champagne right after the wild card, and then division series.
Right.
And like, I get it. You celebrate after every single one. Do I think you have a point where maybe we do it too
I got
much? 'Cause you
labeled
don't
I got
see it.
labeled the fun police. That's what they're calling me on Twitter.
Okay,
the fun
you don't
police.
see it in any other sport, which I think is why in baseball it just like it is what it is. It's part of it. It's a long series and everything. You don't see it in the NBA. You don't see it in the NFL after that. You see it after winning it all. Like you have a point where there's a lot of it, and I can't disagree. There's sometimes like, now when you get in there and you're in that moment, that never crosses my mind at all. It is like how much champagne can I spray on somebody else?
I don't know like tons of MLB guys, but I know a few, and I like texted a few on the side, and they were just like, look, you're right, but also you gotta remember, there's young guys who've never been there. There's old guys who've never been there. There's guys who might not ever get back there.
Yes.
It's a long season. So you're also doing it because of that. It's not just like, hey, we're going to be here every year.
There's I'm with that of there's not old guys, or there's old guys that may not get back there. And I'm all for doing it when you clinch to get into the playoffs.
Of course.
The division.
Yeah, for sure.
And then when you go round by round, I can be like, you know, treat it like it is how we do any other series, where like in LA, we'd get together, do a little speech, tequila shot, everything.
Yeah.
You want to have some beers, hang out. Like I'm all for doing it that way. I like the one when you get in, there's always the one awkward one that goes on where certain teams handle it differently, where when you're trying to clinch the division, right? There's always the point where you get that postseason berth.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then it's like, do we celebrate the postseason berth?
That's a big deal.
Certain teams do it differently, but
right.
do you celebrate the postseason berth, or do you celebrate clinching the division? And so like LA, we didn't celebrate postseason berth. Like, cool, we're in the postseason, but we got to win the division.
Right.
And we can celebrate that.
Yeah, that's cool.
And that was the big thing. So like I've enjoyed every single one of those that I've been a part of. The World Series one hit different.
Yeah. As long as it still hits different for you, then all right, I forego my fun.
I've had that
you.
conversation before.
So before we're gonna let you go soon, man. But one quick thought, and on is it Honeycutt, right? Honeywell?
Honeywell,
guy's awesome.
Awesome.
I think he gave the greatest postseason speech of all time.
That dude is awesome.
He is just awesome, right? Yes. Otani, like I don't know what. These guy's a unicorn. I'm just curious, like, what is it like in the clubhouse? He hurts his shoulder. Are you guys like, oh shit, you know? Like,
well, I think the story's been told of the text he sent to the group of like, it was, I don't remember what it was verbatim. It was like, you know, in 2020, Bellinger hurt his shoulder and he came back. This year, like, it'll be me, like, I'll be fine. And and we were all flying. We were getting on the plane to fly to New York. Had just won the first two. And we were all going to go out to dinner that night. We knew he wasn't going to be there, but it was one of those, like, we knew Show was going to be fine.
Right.
We didn't know how fine he was going to be.
Right.
But I mean, day to day, like, Show is Show. He's not, like, I don't mean that like he's like Showtime or anything. He just is like a pretty much like a regular dude.
Yeah.
Gets on the bus, like, and I think he just gets on the bus, sits there, reads his comics, chills, like, hangs out, does what he does, reads his comics, sitting in his chair, goes about his business, goes about his work. Got a smile on his face whenever you see him, and he's just not big time at all. Like, we had a couple instances where we're on whether it's a bus ride, like, to the stadium or leaving, or we're leaving the stadium to go to the plane, and you know, you've got there's certain guys that have their own seat
Right.
on the bus.
Yeah.
And Yamamoto was one of the last guys on. This happened a couple times, and you know, you've got guys offering up their seats, and then he goes and sits next to Shohei, and Shohei doesn't. He's like, Shohei's much bigger than Yama.
Big dude,
like, much bigger. He's just sitting on the inside, or on the inside next to the window, and Yama's got the whole aisle and everything. And that's just like, for me, that depicts like who he is, where he's just like whatever. Like, it's not a big deal to him. You'd have a bunch of other guys with big egos that would do that. And then it was also pretty cool to say that there was $1 billion sitting in 2 seats right there.
Dude,
like, legitimately.
Were you there when Reggie threw the first pitch? Were you on the team yet?
No. Mm-mm.
He was super excited to meet you, Ohtani, right?
I tell this because I met him and I was like, I became like a fanboy because so Reggie was throwing, it was right after he got his Heisman back. So he was throwing the first pitch for the Dodgers. I caught it in full catcher's gear.
Nice.
I was down in the clubhouse. So I got to know Mookie a little bit and some of those guys. And I'm down there, and Walker had walked by me. I'm full geared helmet, getting ready to, I'll show you a video after. And I'm talking to Mookie. He's like, dude, what the fuck you doing here? I said, yo, I'm catching Reggie's first pitch out there. This was like 5 minutes before, you know. He's like, oh, I'm gonna come watch that. And then Walker goes by. And then Shohei just comes out of nowhere. He just walks up to me. He goes like this. And I was like, keep it off. Better photo op. How you doing? Matt, nice to meet you, Shohei. Yeah. Good luck tonight. That's pretty awesome. It's like that, literally out of nowhere. I was like, he had no clue who I was. He was like, but to your point, he was just like the nicest human being in that 3 seconds. And I looked at the camera. I'm like, I'll show you Ohtani. It was like the coolest moment ever, man. Hey, real quick, you're a free agent. Mm-hmm. I want to throw you on but Dodgers, man, let's get something back. We want you back. We need you back.
I love to hear that.
Yes.
I love to hear it.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
That's it. That's all you need to say.
ご視聴ありがとうございました。チャンネル登録と高評価よろしくお願いします。